Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be for you if you are in the process of pivoting career-wise, or if you're just a creative person that likes to try a whole bunch of different things and you can't really see how it is that this is going to provide fruit for you. Now, if you're like me, you probably grew up thinking that you were going to find a career and have a nice little title, that you were just gonna coast along in that career and hold on to that title forever. And as you are growing and as you are seeing like new developments in technology and AI and design, you may be like, oh my God, I want to try all of this. I literally want to be all the professional roles, right? And you may be dabbling and you may be experimenting. And as I mentioned in a previous video of mine, sometimes when you start trying out new things, especially if you immediately try to showcase these things when you haven't really developed the skill, some people may get confused about you and about what it is that you do. And you may start to get confused about yourself as well. And so before we go any further, I want to say that if you are learning a new skill, if you're looking to pivot and you still are very green, like your skills are still seeds and they haven't yet bloomed, first of all, great that you're doing that. But secondly, make sure that you only share that with people who you know are going to support you. You can share it with me here in the comments, or just keep it to yourself. And I'm sharing this with you because I've definitely lost a lot of people along the way because I was dabbling, I was trying out too many new skills and just kind of showcasing them even when they weren't ready to be showcased. So if you don't want to turn people off, if you don't want to confuse them, like I said, share with me, share with people who you know won't judge you or deter you from learning new things, or just keep it to yourself. Also, like I said, I grew up thinking I was gonna have this like neat little career that fit in a box. Eventually, like in my 20s, I got past the whole career thing and I was more really fascinated by finding my purpose. I think that's something more important that you should seek instead of just a role within a company, or even if you're freelancing, like look for something deeper, look for a purpose, look for a mission in life and kind of work from there. And so what I learned when I found my purpose is that the ways that you can fulfill it are very different. So if you feel like finding your purpose is going to kind of narrow your vision, and again, you're a creative person, you like learning new skills, believe me, your purpose is your purpose. The way you can fulfill it, the way you can execute it in this world, especially now with all the technological advancements, is varied. So you're not going to be, don't feel like you're going to be stifled. Okay. So if you really want the answer and you're like, okay, how is it that this new skill I'm learning can provide fruit for me? And I'm here to say this is based on my experience, right? Small businesses, startups, and maybe even some entrepreneurs you have in your circle. What does that mean? That means that you would be surprised how many small businesses or startups, people looking to launch themselves professionally, how much they have on their plate and how many problems they are facing that they are unable to find the solution for because they are too deeply embedded in the problem, right? These business owners and these startups and whatnot, imagine that they are lost in the forest, lost in the thick of the forest. All they see around them are trees, right? But you coming in from the outside, let's say as a consultant, offering your services, you kind of have a bird's eye view. So you may be able to see solutions that they can't see because they're in the thick of it. And so this is a chance for you to offer whatever it is you've been working on, right? I've done this, over the past 10 years, I've experimented with a lot of creative skills, web design, graphic design, user experience design, and I've either volunteered or worked for a very small amount of money. And you know what's the great thing about that? Is that it is a very easy, very low effort, low commitment way for you to realize if you even want to do this thing that you're studying, if you want to do it professionally, if you want to be held to somebody else's constraints, whether those are timelines, whether that's their brand guidelines, like you're gonna have to do whatever it is that you've been learning, but within a box. And you're gonna come across some obstacles. I came across many obstacles that got me wondering, like, do I really want to do this? And a lot of it, like, I didn't want to do. But like I said, we're just in this era of just all of this, like this plethora of platforms, of apps that just allow you to like learn little bits and pieces. And you are surrounded by, unless you live in the middle of nowhere, you're surrounded by someone who can use your help, right? You don't want to approach Nike. You don't want to approach some big company, large corporation, not to start with, because they're not going to get back to you. But I'm sure there's someone in your community. I'm sure there's, one of your favorite restaurants, one of your favorite brands that you really enjoy and that you support, but you've noticed, right, because you have this outsider perspective, hey, maybe this could be a little bit better. Maybe they could improve on that. And obviously you don't want to help them with something that you know nothing about, but this new skill that you're learning, put that into practice. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the fact that we are learning something new with the hopes that it is going to provide fruit. And now I know that as adults, that's, for a lot of people, that's the only reason they decide to learn a new skill. Either they think it's going to help make them more money, or their boss has asked them to take this course or whatnot. And I'm here to be like a little bit of a breath of fresh air and say, sometimes you just want to learn something new, like just for the fun of it. 10 years ago when I started experimenting with, like I said, graphic design, web design, user experience design, like social media marketing and all this stuff, I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't think that it was going to, in the next chapter of my life, bring some opportunities and some financial opportunities my way. I was just fucking around. I was just like productively fucking around on the internet. I was just having fun. And I think that this actually turned a lot of people off, because we're adults now, right? We gotta be adults. We gotta be serious all the time. What are you doing? I thought you had this role and now you're doing this? Yeah, I do different things, bro. And so back to the previous thing that I mentioned about maybe not showcasing some of these new skills you're learning with people who are judgmental, or people who are going to cut you off simply because they want to put you in a box, right? Okay, look, I did the hustle thing. I had my mindset on this like making money for so long. And you know what? I'm going to give you a little piece of advice. It's actually relationship advice, but you got to stop categorizing and compartmentalizing advice and learn to use advice in many different contexts, okay? So this is a little piece of relationship advice, and it says that if you are chasing someone, it means they're running away from you. So if you are chasing money, it means it's running away from you, right? It means it has eluded you. And I'll tell you what, I didn't intentionally stop hustling. It just happened one day. I was like, you know what? I don't know, some switch in my mind just flipped, and I was like, I'm gonna let go that need to be productive and be efficient and work on every single moment of my time off from my day job and fucking get it right. This time I'm gonna get it right. I stopped. I let that go. And you know what's happening? Things are coming to me now. Opportunities are coming to me. Answers are coming to me. Money is coming to me, right? Because I stood still. How is the money, how are the opportunities supposed to find you if you're fucking all over the place, right? So again, I'm not telling you, not to work hard and not to aim for something. Oh, lunch is ready. But just to do it in balance. Work a little bit and then relax. And let your hard work pay off for you. Let your hard work bring opportunities your way. Right? Because that is one of the benefits of having the internet, right? And maybe you're not doing something specifically on the internet, but if you are, if you're not, you should be, because it allows you to duplicate yourself. And now you can be in one place doing your job, right? That thing that gives you the money. And then there's another version of you on the internet bringing more opportunities your way. But I think I am getting off track here. But actually that's kind of helps us segue into the next portion, which is you've got to start thinking about things differently. And this brings us into creating new neural pathways. The pathways of your mind, the path that your mind likes to take when it thinks, is the same path. Have you noticed that you can think about something over and over and over and over again for days, for weeks, months, years, and you always get the same answer? You're not getting this new, fresh answer that you want to get. And that's because you have these pathways in your mind. Think about them as like dry riverbeds. When you pour water, right, when it rains down on these riverbeds, where's the water going to go? It's going to go in those pathways, right? Because it's being brought down through gravity, and if it can go down a little bit further into that pathway, that's what it's going to take. It's the path of least resistance, and that's the same thing that's happening in your mind. And so what you have to do, I mean, you don't have to, but what I suggest you do is to find ways to create new neural pathways. And I'm going to give you a really quick example of, kind of don't want to start with this. I want to start with the more sustainable versions first, but I feel like I started talking already, so we're going to do this. I know that drugs aren't for everyone. And if you don't know what my day job is, I work at a cannabis cafe, a cannabis lounge, kind of like they have in Amsterdam, but in Chicago. And so it is part of my lifestyle to share with you the power that plants can have in your life. And now if You don't want to do, any sort of recreational drugs. I understand. I'm going to give you some other tips. You can fast forward. But if you are open to experimenting with something, mild, like cannabis, it can help you change those neural pathways and see things differently. So we'll take it back to that example of the small business owner or whatnot who's stuck deep in the forest, stuck in their problems and they can't see a way out. Sometimes just a little bit of cannabis can elevate you. They say you're getting high, so you get high and you get above that forest, you get above all those trees, and you get a bird's eye view. And sometimes you can see your own path, your own way out that you couldn't see before. Now, don't tell the small business owners that, right? You got to come in with the solution. And a little story I want to tell about how the plants can really help you just crush these self-limiting beliefs is that I've taken another plant, which is not as sustainable. This is for like when you need to make big, important life decisions and you really need to like break through some fog and just really get some new vision for your life. And it's ayahuasca. I can talk more about that later. But here's the thing, right? You think you're so open-minded. I thought I was so open-minded. Like, look at me. I did the yoga. I did all sorts of creative, artsy things. I like dyed my hair, crazy colors, dated men and women. I was just like, oh, I'm so open. I'm so open-minded. I'm so free. And yet I wasn't. Because at 27 years old, when I first did ayahuasca, I had this crazy breakthrough. It's not even crazy. It's just a breakthrough. And I started to see that, like, wait a minute. I can be anything I want. Anybody can be anything they want. And for some reason, I specifically thought about it through the lens of being a musician. I was like, wait a minute. Anybody can be a musician. And now I'm not saying a great musician. Not everybody can be a great musician. But anybody who wants to make music can make music. Again, I thought I was so open-minded. And yet, at 27 years old, I was still under the impression that, like, musician was a title that was given to a select few. Like, there was some sort of, like, committee or something. Again, it's just a belief. I don't know where it came from. But it was just like bursted open, like, no, anybody, if that's really what you want to be, if that's your purpose, like, go ahead. And now more than ever, you have the tools to put your music out there for everyone to listen to. But I was trapped. We're trapped in these beliefs. And again, sometimes we don't even know where they come from. Did you know that you could be anything you want to be? Do you really know that you can be really anything you want to be? There's no fucking committee. Granted, if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to school. You got to put the time. Everybody's got to put the time in. I'm not saying you don't have to put the time in, but I don't know what I was thinking up to that point. And so I'm just saying they're an easy way to really just like crush through those beliefs. But if you're looking for a more sustainable way to change your neural pathways, let's talk about some ways. I have some notes. One, I can already tell you right now, exercise. Not only does exercise have the potential to change your neural pathways, if you haven't looked into epigenetics, exercise has the potential to literally change your DNA. Hey, look into it. Maybe I'll leave some links down below. Okay, I told you about you can be anything you want. So we're talking here about the things that you can do. Exercise, meditation, bro, meditation is awesome, but I don't start with meditation because meditation is actually really hard. Notice I started with the exercise. If you start with meditation, that's like putting a lid on a boiling pot of water. You've got too much energy, and now you're trying to tell your mind to just stop. Right? It's hard to do that. What you want to do instead is give your body an outlet. Give your mind something to focus on for so long that the thoughts have kind of started dissipating on their own, so then you can sit in meditation because you've already done some of the work. You don't just start with meditation. Meditation is advanced. You guys, I know it looks easy. No, it's advanced. What else? Learning a new skill. That's why you're here, right? So the great thing about learning a new skill, like I said, gonna bring lots of opportunities your way eventually, but it's also going to help you create new pathways in your mind that maybe, you had created because you were just doing the same things over and over and over again, and now you're forced to do something new. Mental stimulation, puzzles, games, intellectual activities, healthy diet, sleep. Let's see what else we got here. Social engagement. That one's actually really good too. Social engagement is really good because if you can't create the new neural pathways yourself, just being around people who think differently than you, right? Because I did hear, you know what I heard in my dreams twice last night? The phrase echo chambers. Okay, we don't want to socialize only with people who think the same as us. No, you want to socialize with people who think differently than you, and that will help you create some new neural pathways too. Especially if they're more ambitious than you, if they're more successful than you, they will start to share with you some of the methods that work for them, and then you can adopt those new ways of thinking. And positive thinking, of course. This is another hard one. The easiest stuff, the things that sound easiest are actually the hardest. But you gotta catch yourself. If you, at any point in time, if you find yourself saying something, like I said earlier, I can't be a musician. Who am I? Who do I think I am being a musician? No, you can. You can. You have to decide if that's really what you want to do and you want to commit your time to, right? Because there are going to be challenges. But you can be anything you want. And just start to pay attention anytime you have that negative self-talk, and you got to reframe it. I have a video about reframing. I'll link that somewhere below. You got to nip that in the bud. Like, no, this is a garden in here, and you have to care for it, and you have to make sure that every thought in there, especially about yourself, is positive and also open to new possibilities. All right, I'm gonna end it on this because you're like, is that really gonna work for me? One, it's worked for me. So in that last chapter, remember, I was kind of experimenting, playing around, and I had a lot of people drop me because they couldn't understand, how to put me in this neat little box. Guess what? I have opportunities now. I have a mentor now who is not only allowing me to showcase these skills within his company, but now he has taken me under his wing and he's teaching me the next thing. Let me put my finger here so you can see it. The next thing. And I can't tell you what that is, right? Because that would be going against my own rules of not showcasing the seeds. I'm like such beginner level at this that I'm not even gonna talk about it, but give me a few years and I'm gonna be killing it with that thing too, because that compiled with everything I've already learned in my life, bam, straight to the top, right? So keep learning new things. But anyway, if that's not enough of an example for you, let me show you how somebody I know took their skills, something that they had been using for their own personal gain, and approached a business and is now doing this full time. So the organization I work for right now, like I said, we're a cannabis cafe in Chicago. We're not just one, we're a whole organization. We have a corporate side, we also have the retail side, and soon we are opening up our third and fourth location. But for one of the initial locations, it's in like such a cool spot in Chicago. It's called Wicker Park. It's very artsy. You've got all the the wheat paste posters on, the abandoned buildings, and all the concerts are being advertised, and everybody's like fucking showing out all day. Everybody fucking dripping, however you guys like to say, right? Looking good, looking so artsy, cultured. And so the guy who is now the general manager of our location, he is a bit of a local celebrity. He likes to visit all the new restaurants and clubs and lounges in the city, and he went to check this spot out, and he noticed right away so much possibilities, so many opportunities. He was like, you're in this hip spot, and like, you're not, first of all, it's not cool in here. It was actually very boring. It was just like, almost like any regular dispensary. Like, here's the weed, would you like to purchase it? And then get out. I think they had some ice cream at the time too. And so having been to all of these really cool places all over the city, he was like, wait a minute, I think I could use my skills to help you, be even, you're successful clearly, but be even more successful than you already are. And so like initially he came in as a consultant and helped them change the whole vibe in there. Like there was no vibe at all. And now there's a vibe, right? And so if you're even thinking like, what kind of skills do I have? I know a lot of you who can do maybe some sort of interior design, some music and aesthetics, and help some of these places, in your city or in your town, like create a vibe. Like if you didn't know, apparently that's a job. So now he's a general manager just because he walked off the street, saw this place that had amazing potential, and helped them develop that. And now look at this, like I said, it's popping, it's such a happening spot. We're working on our third and our fourth location. And to be honest, I don't think we would have gotten there if this guy hadn't come off the street and given his expertise. We would be just like any other dispensary in the city. And so I share this with you as inspiration. It's been inspiring to me too. Like I start to look at places differently too, like, who can I help? But I got a lot on my plate right now, okay? I got the day job and I got this. But guys, start to think differently. Open your mind and stop limiting yourself, thinking that you have to do whatever it is. Maybe you got a degree, maybe you've been doing something for 10 years, maybe you've been doing it for 20 years, and you're like, I want to do something different. Do it. I feel like we're also in a place right now as a society where we are a little bit more welcoming, we're a little more open of people doing lots of different things, people wearing many hats, having different roles. It's kind of a bit of a renaissance time that we're in right now. Don't hold yourself back. If you're passionate about something and you're willing to put in the work, I think you're amongst friends, you're amongst people who support you. And so if you're pivoting right now, I want to know what you're pivoting from and what you're thinking, what the new skill is you're learning. And if you've already learned the skill and you've been a little hesitant, you can't quite see the opportunities, after watching this video, I want you in the comments give me at least 3 places or people, like I said, entrepreneurs in your life, small businesses that you think you can help with the skills you've been learning. And if you want to do extra credit, overachievers, I want you to reach out to one of those businesses, and I want you to let me know how it goes. Okay? I share this with you because I feel like sometimes, again, we are limited by these beliefs. We don't even know. We think we're so open-minded, and we're really not. So I hope this has inspired you. You know, hey, not everybody is meant to hold down the fort in any particular industry. Some of us are meant to just kind of dance through and, you know, sprinkle that industry with a little, you know, a little love from some other adjacent industries, and it's only going to help them, right? It helps. It's refreshing. So thank you for watching, and yeah, connect with me in the comments. Bye.